Okay, so today I'm going to make this beautiful diamond into a ring for my mum. This is a lab-grown 2.2 carat DVS1 diamond, and it's my mum's birthday, so I need to make her something. Unfortunately, I am on a time crunch due to the Christmas rush, so I only have a day to make this. I start by melting down some silver and rolling it through the rolling mill so it becomes my desired length and width, and then I anneal this piece of metal because I want to make it into bezels. Once I've annealed this, I make it true by tapping it straight. And then once I'm happy with this piece of metal, I go ahead and I start forming it into a bezel that the stone can sit on top of. I like to cut my seats into bezels. I don't like having the bezel around the stone and then having an internal sleeve. So once I've got the shape of the bezel, I go ahead and I just cut this and solder it. Even though this is oval, I want it to be a more perfect oval, so I go ahead and I make it round, and then once I've made it round, I can just put it in my vise and then squeeze it oval. This just makes it a bit of a better shape for a calibrated oval like this, and then I make my other bezels and I can start on the ring. I got my assistant to pick up a piece of silver that was already pre-rolled because I didn't have time to roll it. I mark out a taper on this piece of silver and then I start cutting that out. Melting and rolling metal to make into pieces of jewellery is one of the most laborious pieces of making jewellery, and so if I could cut out as much of that process as possible so that I could get this ring done in a day, then that was perfect. Once I've got a taper that's okay, I go ahead and I turn the ring up. Do this using half round pliers, and once I'm happy with the shape of the ring, I can go ahead and just solder it. At the moment, this isn't looking like much, but this is actually a style of ring that I've never made before. I haven't actually made this style of ring before, but I decided that I did want to challenge myself despite only having a day to make it. Once I've soldered it, I file my taper so that it's a more appropriate shape, because obviously I've only sawn this shape into the piece, I haven't filed it. And then once I'm happy with my filing, I go ahead and file the underside of the bezels so that they're a more curved shape. This is because the bezels need to fit on top of the ring and the ring is curved, so it just makes it more perfect. And then I start soldering on all of the bezels, so this is the placement. I clean this up with sandpaper and just do a quick vibe check to see if I like where everything's sitting. And then once I'm happy with this, I go ahead and start making some borders to put on the ring. I do this using pre-milled 2mm wire because, again, I don't have time to melt it down and roll it out. And then I solder these borders onto the ring. I then put this into the magnetic polisher after doing a little bit of cleanup. And then once it's out of the magnetic polisher, I go ahead and I bezel set all of the stones. As I've said before, I like tapping by hand. I don't like using a hammer drill. And then I clean up the piece and apply some texture and some polish. I only apply polish to the high points of this piece actually because I think it looks really cool. This is the finished piece. I am actually really proud of turning this up in a day. Do I think it could be cleaner? 1,000,000%. But I really love this. I think it's great. I gave it to my mum. She absolutely loves it. She thinks it's fantastic. It is so comfortable and I am actually really proud of it. Anyway, I hope you like this piece and thank you so much for watching this.